Hello friends, and welcome to another video, and welcome to my kitchen. We are doing a DIY project and I thought this would be the appropriate space to do this in. I also want to give a shout out to this screen in the background. Neighbor was giving it away for free. It is great for covering up whatever disaster is in behind me, sort of the inverse of Pixar didn't happen. If it's not in the camera shot, it doesn't exist. One other thing I wanted to say before we get started, if you like the t-shirt, I designed it myself. It is available in my merch store, linked in the description. So let's get started. Today we are making a DIY vitamin C serum. I've been making this for a few months now at home. I keep saying I want to do a video when I make it next time, so I'm doing the video right now. The basics of this recipe is based on the Lab Muffin Beauty recipe. So her recipe is very simple. It's just distilled water, ascorbic acid, and baking soda to cut the acidity. I used it for a couple of weeks, and I mean, technically, yes, it's great. She's much more technical than I am, but it didn't feel like a serum. It didn't feel like I was doing something to my face. It just felt like I was splashing lightly acidic water on my face. So I've made some adjustments to the recipe. Instead of using distilled water, I am using rose water, which is a type of distilled water. It's basically distilled with rose petals in it, so it has the essence of rose. It has a little bit of rose oil in it. I am also using some vegetable glycerin, a very small amount. I saw some recipes that had very large amounts of vegetable glycerin, like just enough water to dissolve the vitamin C powder, and then the rest of it was all vegetable glycerin. It was gross. I have fairly oily skin, but I would put it on at night before bed. I would wake up and my skin was still sticky from the glycerin. It was just gross. So it's a very small amount of glycerin that I am using. I am also using some aloe vera gel. Both the vegetable glycerin and the aloe vera gel really are to thicken it up. They do add some small moisturizing qualities to the serum, but this isn't meant to be a moisturizing serum. I use them so it feels nicer going on. It feels like I'm doing something. I'm not sure that they, on a chemical level, add anything to the recipe, but it feels nicer. So those are the adjustments that I am making. I am making 15 milliliter, which will fill one of these small bottles here. Although I'm not using this bottle, you can see, I don't know if you can see in the camera, I'll hold it down here. This is a see-through bottle. It's amber, but light definitely passes through it. Vitamin C breaks down very easily in light, so I am using this slightly larger bottle that is black and no light passes through it. If all you can find are these semi-clear bottles, just wrap it in aluminum foil to keep the light out. So for our recipe today, we're going for a 10% solution. And since I am using 15 milliliters of liquid, I want 1.5 grams of ascorbic acid. And I don't have a scale that does percentages of grams. I don't have a scale that's that accurate. But 1 teaspoon of ascorbic acid is about 3 grams, so I'm going to be just measuring a half a teaspoon of this powder. I'm going to be mixing it in a measuring cup and then pouring it into the bottle. And I have the measuring cup resting in a bowl of hot water. I find that the hot water helps things blend easier. It helps the crystals of the ascorbic acid blend into the water better. So let's get measuring. I have my measurements here as I've been adjusting my recipe. This is version 5 that I am using of the various recipes that I have tried and been fiddling with. So it is 1 tablespoon of rose water. And again, 1 tablespoon is just about 15 milliliters. 1.5 grams of ascorbic acid, or half a teaspoon. I think this whole bottle cost me about $4 maybe. You can get it from any vitamin supply store. I'm just gonna stir this up. You can see there's a lot of crystals left at the bottom, which is why I like the hot water. It really helps things dissolve better. See, that's much better now. We're just gonna keep stirring. And the rose water is really very fragrant. Rose water has traditionally been used as a skincare ingredient, so it does have some traditional properties. If nothing else, it just really smells nice rather than just water. Okay, so now that looks clear, it's all mixed in. So like I said, we're using a very small amount of the vegetable glycerin and aloe. So I'm just using 1/4 teaspoon of each. Depending on how oily or dry your skin is, you might want to tweak these ingredients a little bit and use more or less. And this brand of aloe vera gel actually has some glycerin in there as well, so there's more glycerin in here from the aloe. Okay, put that in there. And the hot water not only helps the crystals dissolve, but it helps the glycerin and the aloe vera really melt into the liquid. So I have here some pH strips. I just use the paper pH strips in, just a little carton like this. They come in a roll and you just rip off the pieces that you need, and then there's the color thing right here. We're looking for about 3.5 pH. That's going to have the best absorption into the skin and not burn when you put it on the skin. So we'll take a small amount and we will put a drop here. Make sure that your plate is dry that you're doing the strips on, because water does have a pH and it will affect your results. We have about a 2 right now, and that is much too acidic. That's going to burn if you put it on your skin. So what we do to break down the acid is we add some baking soda, because baking soda is a base. And I am using this tiny little spoon that actually, it came with a jar of stevia, but it is, I'm not even sure what the measurements is, but I just use it to get little tiny bouts of baking soda, because although I know how much I usually use of this, I don't want to give you directions, because depending on what type of water you're using, depending on a lot of other things, your acid ratio is going to be different, and you should always test this to see. So we are going to take a tiny amount and we're going to put it in. And it is going to suds up. See that here? Yeah, it's going to suds up like a grade school volcano with baking soda and vinegar. Because the vitamin C liquid is the vinegar here. It's the acid. Okay, so now that has been, the suds have died down. I'm going to get a little more of this and put it on the next one. Already you can see, if we put it next to this first one, it's much paler. I don't think it's pale enough yet, but it is much paler. Pick this up. It might be a 3. Might be between a 2.5 and a 3. There are digital pH testers that can give you a more accurate result than the paper, but they're very expensive. The cheap ones that you can find, they get uncalibrated very easily, and it's hard to know if they're giving you an accurate reading. The paper is always the same. So I'm going to get another. I'm not using full scoops here. I'm going to using a little bit less. I'm using like half scoops here. Don't try to mix it directly in the bottle, because when you add the baking soda, especially with the glycerin in it, when you do it with just water, it's not as big an issue, but when there's glycerin in it and you add the baking soda, it just bubbles out everywhere and makes a big mess. Okay, and do another drop. Okay, and still not quite green enough, so I'm going to do a little bit more baking soda. If you want to do a higher concentration of vitamin C, you can go up to 20% and it should be safe for your skin, but it's always best to start at the 10% and see how your skin handles it before you go up, because you're looking, most people do best somewhere between a 5 and a 20% solution. So you want to start low and kind of build your way up. And since we are using sort of inaccurate measurements with just measuring spoons and it's such a small amount, it's hard to get really accurate measurements. 10% is a good place to shoot for when you're starting. That one is looking greener. Okay, you can see that that is, it's kind of between 3 and 3.5. Maybe I do want just a smidge more. This is taking a lot today. Maybe it's the weather, I don't know. It takes different amounts every time. And when the bubbles stop each time, you know that all of the baking soda has been used by the acid. And yeah, that one is looking green. So we are going to stop there. Going to use our funnel here. And we're just going to pour it all in. It does make a very small amount, but honestly, I found that the 50 milliliter amount, that is enough that my husband and I, both using it daily, can go through it in about 2 weeks, which is how long it takes before it oxidizes and goes bad. And you know that this vitamin C solution has started to go bad. When it's no longer clear, it'll start turning orange. It'll turn very dark orange. By the end, it'll smell sort of rusty, at least with this brand. One of the things that I wondered about after seeing other videos, especially the Lab Muffin Beauty, where she goes into so many details about the chemistry of this stuff, is I wondered, so this is supposed to be an acid. The vitamin C is ascorbic acid. So by adding the baking soda to make it less acidic, are you actually, making less vitamin C for your skin? So I did look it up, and the chemical name of what's happening, first, all those bubbles that you saw, it's making carbon dioxide. But what's left behind is actually called sodium ascorbate, which is a different type of vitamin C. So it's just slightly less acidic. So that's what is happening, is that it's not strictly ascorbic acid anymore, it's now sodium ascorbate. So fun to know. So that's going to be it. We have our 2 weeks worth of vitamin C serum for a couple of bucks worth of ingredients instead of $20 or $40 for a whole bottle. If you make this, let me know how it goes. And if you have any adjustments to the recipe that you find for your skin type, also, let me know. Let's share some knowledge. Thank you so much for watching. I have some more DIYs planned for the future, so let me know in the comments what you would like to see. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you again soon. My camera's in this shot, isn't it? Okay. I need measuring spoons. And I need another measuring spoon.